welcome to this week's episode of the Music City Mindset that is officially operating under the NFM network. And this one here, y'all, this is going to be a special one for me. It's not going to take y'all long to understand why this episode is going to mean so much to me in my journey of why I'm even here. But I'll tell you every single week, I couldn't do any of this if I had to do it alone. My co-host, he's a fellow TSU Tiger, a local legend, and the only thing he hates more than burgers is playing on AstroTurf. I did my research. Mr. Training Corner himself, Deon Giddens. What's up, Deon?
What's up, man? Good to see you again. Hey, this gets better and better each week. I don't know what I owe you, but we'll talk about that later.
I can do a specific one if you want to.
I got to.
I read the article about the AstroTurf. We can talk about that later.
I'm just gonna say staff.
I
got staff.
That's gonna be a long rant there.
Yeah, so the AstroTurf and staff, they go together. But anyway,
okay.
Here we go.
You ready for this one?
Let's do it, man.
All right.
Wait to dive into this.
So my honor, I'm gonna start right back into it. This dude that I'm introducing here, Nashville Burger Week aficionado. So we're going to get you on that one.
You got to.
Top 10 Arnold Strongman Championship finisher, multiple podium finisher at Strongman Nationals. At 21 years old, he moved 1,000-pound yoke.
What?
He is an Iowa State Cyclone. He had a communications class with Brock Purdy. Don't know if that's true, but that's what I'm saying.
We're researching.
Yeah. My sources say he saw Brock Purdy once. Co-owner of the #1 strength and conditioning gym in Nashville, Music City Muscle. One of my best friends, Sammy Pape.
Got to give applause for
there
that.
we go. I appreciate
intro,
that.
Man.
Yeah, that's a great intro, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I did catch the whole hates burgers, AstroTurf thing, and I locked on to burgers. I was like, well, I know we're gonna get into that. I see.
Yes.
Not necessarily hate burgers, but I get not with peanut butter and jelly on a burger. I'm not doing that. That's so no way.
It's got its place, I think.
They wanted me to bring something up. I brought up Burger Week, and I thought it would hit in the room, and it flopped.
Sank. Oh, man. We just have expendable palates, man. I think that's what it is. That's what it.
Maybe I need to lift more. I need to lift more weight. So looking at y'all too.
Is that what
it is? We also don't look like you, Deon.
Yeah, right. Hey, there's trade-offs, baby. I'll take the burgers 8 times out of 10. So.
Sammy, where are you from? Tell everybody where you're actually from.
Yeah, I'm from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So, moving down here, not a lot of people have met anyone from Iowa. So I'd always get like, oh, where are you from? And I go, Iowa. And they go, oh, potatoes. I'm like, corn, close.
Yeah.
But, you get the feel, right? There's a lot of fields, right?
Yeah.
So, but Cedar Rapids, it's like the second largest city in Iowa, right? So there's a lot of people there. It's not like I grew up necessarily on a farm. My dad's side is farm folk. But yeah, the main ones are like Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Ames, stuff like that.
With the way Iowa's shaped, where is Cedar Rapids located?
Yeah, so Cedar Rapids is technically eastern Iowa, but basically think top down. You're looking at if you cut Iowa in half, right in the middle vertically, it's going to be smack dab in the middle of the second side, the right side. So that's right about where it's at.
What does it actually mean to be corn-fed?
I want to hear this.
It's funny, man. I was thinking about this the other day, and this is like one of my funniest things I mention to people too, because a lot of people bring up corn all the time. You do. You bring up corn to me constantly.
Why do you bring up corn all the time?
Because I'm from Iowa. I don't know.
I'm talking
man.
about this guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I send him corn means anything that has to do with corn.
That's Nebraska though, right?
No, it's
like
Iowa.
Iowa
you would think so because the corn husk.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think Iowa produces like 40% more corn than Nebraska does. It's a pretty significant margin. But what it means to me to be corn fed is like you see people, and it's not even necessarily just people that are farm centric that are like big dudes, but it's just like the diet that you live off of. It's very like steak and potatoes, corn, like heavy, dense food that you're growing up on. And I always like to tell people, I'm like, it's really funny growing up. A normal thing to me was corn for dinner. You know what I mean? There were no sides. Your side was corn. Your main was corn. I'd sit down and I'd rip. I'd rip like seven,
no
8
protein?
Yeah, dude. I'd sit down and I'd rip like 7 or 8 cobs of corn, and I'd be like, happy, dude. I'd be happy, man.
The question is, do you still eat corn now? I guess since did you overindulge in it, or are you still good with it?
No, man. I love corn, but I can't eat it down here. I've got it a few times. There's a huge difference. And I'm trying to get my family to expedite ship me some down so I can make some for all my friends and be like, okay, you get it now, right? But I mean, I've had it a few times. I went to like farmer's market and picked some up. It's not even close, man. So I always get some when I go home. My mom knows. I'm like, hit up. It's funny, like the best corn that you can get it's not at the grocery store. It's not at the farmer's market. You go to like a CVS parking lot, and in the corner on like of an intersection, there will be a truck, and you just buy it out the back of a truck with like the wood stalls on the sides.
Selling corn. There you go.
That's the best thing.
Master peeing corn cobs, selling it out of the trunk of their car.
That's right.
What's your favorite way to eat corn?
On the cob.
On the cob.
Yeah, dude. No, it's funny, man. There's I switched from like the sideways typewriter way, and now I'm like a spin brush, dude. You could put it on a drill, and I just put my teeth out and let it fall in my mouth. Man.
He's a pro. I
got it.
Understand him, so he's a pro.
Okay, so how long have you been in Nashville?
I've been here for a little over 3 years now. So moved back in 2021?
Yeah.
Summer
So what brought you here though?
So I had just graduated from college. I went to Iowa State, obviously, for mechanical engineering. Got my degree, and I just a big part of it was I couldn't do the winters in Iowa anymore.
Brutal.
Yeah,
Brutal.
it's like those days where it just gets really gray, sky's gray, everything is just it's depressing, and that affects my mood a lot. But it would be like that for like 6 months straight. I'm like, I need to get south. I need to get a little bit more sun. Tennessee is great because you do like. The winters aren't still warm. You get a break from the heat and the humidity and all that stuff. And then just things to do, I just wanted to get out, kind of like find myself again. I have a lot of people back in Iowa. I know a lot of people. I've got a lot of friends, acquaintances. But I was just ready to start again. And I always like a challenge. I've never been forced myself out of my own comfort zone. I've had to be put out of my own comfort zone by necessity. Right. But as far as like my own choices to say, you know what, I'm going to make my life a little bit harder to make it a little bit better and see how that goes. That was my first press in trying that out, and it's been super beneficial.
So you just came blind in Nashville, or you just like heard about it, like, you know what, I'm coming, or did he have a recommendation, or it sounded like he followed a girl down here or something like that?
No, so the opposite, right? The opposite. I was
followed a dude down here.
Yeah, I was dating. I was dating someone in college for a long time, and we were talking about like our life plan, whatever, and like we talked about moving to Nashville, and like that was a plan for a long time. She ended it with me. I was, heartbroken. And I still wanted to get out, and I was like, I'm going.
There you go.
So, outside of that force that brought me specifically to Nashville, I've been on the Strongman circuit since, I was 18, like fresh out of high school.
Yeah, you got to tell me about that, man. That's great. We got to dive into this, because I'm curious to see, like, the beginning phases to now when it comes to the Strongman.
Yeah, well, like one of the first things was, and we can dive into this a little bit kind of as a segue, but the first competition, like big competition I had was nationals when I was 19. And I was competing as a 200 athlete. And in that competition, that was like what changed the game for me as far as like competing in Strongman was that competition. But I met some cool people there. I met Matt McQuiston, which is down here. He lives down in Brentwood area.
Okay.
And so I would see him at every big competition I was at. I'd be competing against him. We would be battling back and forth, nationals, the Arnold, all of those things. I'd see him around. So I knew he was in the Nashville area. He actually lived in Iowa for a while, not far from where I went to college. And then I went down to nationals in Montgomery, Alabama, and this was right before I graduated from college, and I met Blake. Blake was there. It was my first time running into him.
So both of y'all were competing at that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the first time that I met him, and I think that was back 2020.
Yeah, Matt had actually made it a point being like, hey, no offense, but he's like, that kid I was telling you about.
I was a kid.
Yeah. He's like, that kid I was telling you about that's really good. He's here. He's up at the 231 weight class, which was our weight class. He wanted to make sure to introduce us. So we kind of hung out in Alabama for a little bit for that competition.
Hung out. We threw down.
We
down.
partied. We partied.
I had to party.
Yeah, we threw down in Montgomery. It was super
Yeah.
fun. Still my favorite nationals I've had up to this point as far as like the developments, like afterwards, hanging out with everyone. Super fun. And it was, I think, on kind of the tail end of that, I think Blake and I were out. We were some drinks in, and he was like, man, you should move to Nashville.
So
And I was
you
like-
convinced him to come.
Yeah, I was
straight up.
like, so you're gonna graduate? Like, what are you gonna do after you graduate? And he was like, I don't really know. Yeah, he's like, I was gonna move, but we talked about moving. I was like, move to Nashville. Everybody else is. There's 100-something people moving here a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that time, it was busy.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was
busy.
like,
Okay.
sure.
why not?
I said, I'll come visit you sometime. And then I texted him like a couple weeks later. I'm like, hey, man, I'm about to buy plane tickets right now. Got my plane tickets. I think I came and visited you like the competition was in October, and I came in like
December.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like quick turnaround, came, visited. I think I visited one more time like 4 months after that.
Then you were sold. Like, I'm coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly,
not,
I thought
though?
I ran
Why
him
not?
off because that first one was that Antioch party, right?
Yeah, bro. I asked for it, man. And you know what? No, tell that. Please tell that story. I
was
like.
there. I'm just.
No, I love
it's
your
so-
perspective on that.
So I went to Glen Cliff, which is like, well, kind of not a rival, but is
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. You know what I
He's
mean?
he's from here, so
Yeah,
he,
I'm
when
from
I
here. So yeah, when you say these
Right.
things, I'm laughing like, okay, Iowa Antioch party. That okay, Blake. All right.
No, his perspective on this, it's just the best.
so
the way he tells it.
He's a big thrifter, thrift store guy.
Meaning thrift stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And so he wanted to hit a couple thrift stores, and I knew where some were. Over
Well,
on Harding.
you wanted to go get a workout.
That's
in,
right. We didn't have workout clothes,
And
We're
I
like,
didn't
let's
have
hit the
workout
thrift
clothes because
store.
I was there for like 2 days, and I was like, we're gonna be hanging out and
Yeah.
touring around. I didn't think we were gonna get a lift in, but when he said it, I was like, sure, let's go.
And so we stopped at the Southern Thrift or something over there off Harding.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly
where the
what you're
old
talking
YMCA
about. Yeah,
was.
I know what you're talking about.
And to get a lift at that 1440.
Yep.
And when we were in there, I ran into one of the homies.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, what are you getting into tonight?" Just making conversation. And I already knew like he's in town, so like whatever he's doing, I'm not gonna really fuck with that. Like that's. And because I know
Little
what
did he know,
I
I'm
know,
down for whatever.
he was like, "Man, we're throwing, there's a birthday party up in Antioch. You got to swing
the
by."
homies means black.
Yeah. That chapter.
That chapter.
Yeah. I mean, this is like tattoos on his face, gold
Yes,
teeth.
that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
laughing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
got
Like,
you. Yeah.
And he was talking about that, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, let's go." And I was like,
He's down for
"Nah,
whatever.
dog. Like, he's in Antioch, and that doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that's the kind of house party you're trying to go to.
Yeah.
Your first time visiting Nashville." And he was like, "Man, I'm good, dude." I was like, "No, no, I'm good."
Let
I
him
was
go
like,
then. There it is.
All right, let's see if you can do it.
Time of your life.
What?
Yeah, the time of your life. It was fun.
Get fast forward to when we show up and you
we show up-
you losing me, quote unquote losing me.
Yeah. So we show up. Because all the bars and stuff are closed or not as popular as they were. I mean, we're in some like I don't even know where we are in Antioch. We're like deep in Antioch.
Yeah, house
And-
party.
Yeah, and it's a house. It's like got a basement but step down. That you can't move in the house. Like
So
it
it's
is
jam-packed.
slammed.
Gotcha.
There's people cooking. There's people in the garage. And that's where I was hanging out.
Right.
I was out there, burning one down.
Right.
And he had stepped inside, I think, to go grab a drink or something like that. And then like, I didn't realize how long I'd been out there, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go find him." Couldn't find him.
So he did lose you.
Yeah, I lost him. I lost him at a house party in a
I
basement.
wasn't
in Antioch.
lost, man. I was found. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I
There
was-
you go. There you go. And here
but
he
you
is now.
but you
Here
but
he
you
is.
come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up playing some beer pong.
Well, you came back in and you're like, "Oh my God, where's Sam? Where's
Yeah.
Sam?" And then you find me, and I'm like,
Oh, that was
Dancing, having the
you
time
were-
of
he
my
was in-
life.
before we played a beer pong. I found him in the front room, and he had, like there was some. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever you think about Antioch, when I say some Antioch ladies,
Yeah.
whatever you're thinking about,
Yeah.
yes, and yes, I love. If any of y'all Antioch ladies are listening, I love each and every one of y'all. But
"Me too."
But yeah, it's corn on the cob. If you know what I'm saying over here.
Yeah, I do know,
They were
yeah.
throwing it on him.
Oh man, I wish I could.
We're the only white ones there.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. I
We're
wish
the
I
only
could've-
white
Oh,
ones
the only
there.
and like Blake, I mean, he's got like the tattoos, he's got a beard,
Yeah.
bald head, kind of like you can blend. But I was
Yeah.
like
You-
21 with a comb over. You know what I mean? I'm like a hard part kind of thing going on. You know what I mean? So I'm like, Yeah, fake it till you make it, man. I was
Yeah.
just like,
Nah,
I'm here to
just
have
be-
a good time.
Just
You
be
need to
you,
have a
man.
good
That's
time.
why
Yeah.
Nashville is
So-
what it is. Like, you be you. People accept you. Have a good time. Yeah, that, it
Yeah,
is what it
and
is, yeah. That's
so
cool.
I thought we were good. We played some beer pong.
Yeah.
I got a little too much.
Yeah.
But
Oh, we
fun.
want some money off.
Yeah,
here,
we won
bro.
some money.
Yeah, no one
but I
expected
knew that that's when it was going to start getting dicey when the white dudes are winning the money.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
You gotta go.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta go, bro.
But we didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you gotta go, man.
Yeah,
you on the clock at that
I was
point.
sitting in the front room by myself, just trying to like zone out and like kind of sober
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, everybody ends up coming in there partying, dancing, DJ going.
Yeah.
And then ends up like the dude next to me is dancing, and he's got like a zip in one hand and a 9 in the other, dancing around. And that's when I was like, I don't know how we're gonna get home, but we got to get up out of
gotta
here.
go. Time to go.
That was the
Man.
curtain call.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But tell me how y'all got into like business, right?
Yeah, he is one of
How
my
did that
business
happen?
partners.
How did that come about, man?
That
I gotta
was
talk to you about
that was like it was progressive, but it was fast. You know, so
Going
at one-
through things like that, surviving
That's what I'm
Antioch.
saying, like
Right.
you do that, it's
Right.
a bond that's there
Yeah.
at this point. So
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. And like, you know, I mean, we've been good buddies since I moved down here, right? And we would train together. We would have our Strongman Sundays. You know, and this was back before Music City Muscle existed, right? It was a Sunday thing, and then everyone kind of trained where they were training. And I know at one point, like, Blake had met with someone that was looking at investing some money, getting things going. And that, you know, fell through. And far along in the process, like he was like all in, getting things together,
yeah.
business
I've
plan,
been there before, so I know how
Yeah,
that
man.
can be devastating, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
into-
setting it
the
up.
hardest part was I was trying to do it almost like a secret from my community because I wanted to be like, look what I did.
right.
And then to get to where it got to, it was like,
That's
heartbreaking,
heartbreaking,
really.
man. Yeah.
So then I had no other choice but to open up about how bad that was hurting. And of course I did that with my friends.
right.
Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of like the initial phase, right?
Okay.
And then, you know, I had talked to Blake, and I was like, man, like that sucks, that hurts. Like, you know, I'm here for you if you want to talk about it. And he's like, I'm still there in my head. Like, I want to do it. We need to figure this out. Like, I've always wanted to do this. I got so excited that the opportunity was coming my way, and I don't want it to be gone. And then it was very shortly after that, the previous owners of the gym that we're at now, it was Praxis Strength. You know, things weren't necessarily going super well for them, and they're like, hey, we're selling. And Blake came to me and a couple of other people, and I was like,
Let's do it.
take my money. Let's do it.
Man, that's
but I'm
what's
like,
up, man.
I'm like, let's get together. Let's go over business plans. Let's create
Yeah.
a vision. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Let's set things up good on the front end. I'm very much a numbers person, right?
Like,
So
yeah, somebody has to be though.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Not me.
somebody has to be. Like somebody can bring this to the table, but you gotta have the numbers.
yeah, because like, I mean, so my background's, you know, technical.
Right.
It's engineering. But my full-time job is in engineering, but it's sales, right? So I work with software, a lot of technical products, things like that. So I'm like, anything that involves numbers, I'm in with. So I was like, let's do it. I know Blake has been, you know, in the fitness community for a long time. I had a good understanding of it, enough that I felt comfortable pairing an adventure and kind of leaning on him for that side. And then, you know, kind of my role in that was him leaning on me for my business mindset a little bit, knowing that there was going to be, you know, some growth needed, you know, over the next couple of years, which has been great.
Dang, so you come down, you go have a good time with Blake at a house party, and you go into business. Like it's fast though. It's moving fast.
It
Yeah.
is fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like
and-
that's a hell of a story.
yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
and
Like
I think owning a gym was like in my 10, 15 year plan.
yeah.
And it kind of fell in front of me, and I was like, man, I'd be stupid if I didn't do it right now where I'm at.
Why Nashville though? Well, man, outside of Blake, like when you came, like did he like, you know what, I can see myself building this here. The people are great. Like, what made you say, you know what, I'm just gonna go all in? Or
You're saying a
was
gym
just
for
Blake? Yeah, this
Nashville?
was the gym,
Just
yeah.
like, yeah. 'cause
Yeah,
now
so-
you're,
Blake.
yeah, you're, you know, a kid that grew up corn-fed from
Yeah.
Iowa, and now you're a co-owner of a business that has Music City in the name of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean,
See,
it's pretty cool for
see,
me.
His face alone, lets
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah, he
it's
lit up,
resonating.
and
Like, you
especially
feel at home
knowing
here.
what I know
Right.
about you. You
Yeah.
know, your roommate that you had come down to make like living easier and stuff like that.
He moved out.
Yeah, he moved out
After
You're
like
kinda-
6-7 months.
Yeah,
You just on your own. Then
just
doing
on
your
your
thing.
own. Like, why
Wow.
invest in this city? Like, what did you see that you experienced?
Yeah. So there's a lot of answers to that question. Some of it has to do with the city. Some of it has to do with why I even wanted to open a gym in the first place, why that was in my plan. And like a big thing is for Nashville, I mean, strength sports have meant so much to me through my life development, getting me through hard times. You know, it just been an integral part of who I am in whatever facet that is or whatever level it is in my life. It's there. Right. And that just, I was seeing that missing here. You see a lot of the boutique gyms. You see
Right.
like CrossFit. You see bodybuilding gyms. You can find bodybuilding gyms anywhere, man. But even like people that are like, we're a powerlifting gym. We have the stuff that you want here. I mean, that's almost impossible to find. And I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it here. You know what I mean? And especially like in a city that is growing its fitness community so much, I'm like, build
Why
more
not?
houses.
Yeah,
Build
like,
more
why not?
houses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. If you build more houses, you got to build more gyms. It was never about the investment and the monetary side for me, but it was providing an environment and a community that meant a lot to me. Going back to, you know, when I started training, it was an escape for me. And I've been in and out of gyms that are a little toxic. You don't feel invited to. It's not comfortable, not super comfortable, and you don't get that same like level of camaraderie, or you try to do your own thing and you can feel eyes on you. And I was like, I've been in one gym in particular, and that's back in right outside of Des Moines, Iowa. It's 22nd Street Barbell. And man, when I was there, so inviting. People were amazing.
Environment's
Great
big,
sense
man.
of community.
Like that feel of environment as soon as you walk, that's huge to me.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
that's-
it's I had never
Yeah.
experienced anything like it before, you know? And I was like, I want to create that. And I feel like we've gotten to a point that was a very strong emphasis when we started the gym was, let's get an environment where you walk in and you feel like you're home and you're with your family.
So I gotta come. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta get a strongman workout in. And
Yeah.
that's on the books
Oh yeah.
for sure. We'll do that
Yeah.
for sure.
It's been great. And it's growing, right? We opened up 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
Almost
now.
2 years. Yeah.
And still working stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean, getting things that our members
It's
want.
part of it though. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the
It's
growing
always
pains,
growing.
like, but when you got somebody like that with you doing it, it makes it so much better.
Yeah. Well,
Some people you can trust. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And I think that's ultimately what it was for me. It was like I knew that we had that trust and that camaraderie that we could like go through that. So it was kind of one of those of like when he was talking about his vision of like a gym culture and environment of like what he would want to cultivate as a gym owner, it fell right in line with what not only I felt like I wanted to do, and that aligned with the wants, but introducing him to the fitness community as much of a like positivity as fitness is for people, helping them lose weight, accomplish goals. When you're in it for as long as we've been in it, you do know that there are those toxic
Oh yeah.
sides of things and
Yeah.
chapters that people create when you have that amount of vulnerability. And when you're vulnerable with somebody, you have kind of power. And people have abused that power. And it came at a time where whether he knew it or not, and he learned it because I was telling him, but like to get to what he wanted into what was happening in our city with some of the bigger things that you could describe as definitely toxic, just aligned perfectly to cultivate this kind of community like we have.
Yeah. I mean, even my personal background, to like give it a little bit of detail, is, I mean, I started Strongman young. I was,
Well, you like the youngest that like every time you go compete.
yeah,
with-
for sure.
so you
Always,
had to be.
I mean, way younger than everyone else, especially,
Yeah.
especially in my weight classes. And, you know, it was cool and it was good, but I was seen as the kid. And, you know, I think it was more so within like the like some gyms that I went to that I was actually training at full time, it was, I don't know if it was a level of jealousy or envy or whatever it was, but there was, I mean, a lot of hate just towards me for being younger and being good at what I do.
Yeah, which happens unfortunately, but
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
that's
and I mean,
know.
you've seen those young kids that are in the gym, like they get loud,
Yep.
they're like really hyped up, and man, I was the
what you're
same way.
supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah, and
So,
they're a little bit more
Yeah.
out about it. Like I'm a little bit more composed now, but like
yeah.
if I wasn't a screaming ball of testosterone when I was 18, you know what I mean? So I'm doing my thing in the gym, and people are like, you know, this fucking kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they would voice it, which I'm like, I don't care if you think that, but don't like get
Yeah.
angry, and like, it just created that hostility. And I'm like, man, like everyone should have a good understanding of each other and like have some love. That
But
was
when
a
you go
big
to the
thing.
gym, like that's one of the reasons why you go, so you can let those emotions out. You know what I mean? So you can get better, so
100%.
you can clear your mind, so you can just the personal growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about for me. Like I told you from the first episode, like just the environment is big to me. As far as you're talking about gyms.
100%. Yeah.
So I owned the gym here from like 2012 to 2019, and like I told Blake, that's probably was like top 2 on my list of check off. Like if you going somewhere, I don't care what they have, what equipment, who's in it, what's the environment like? Like who creates
Right.
and sets the tone?
It's the
for that?
aura.
So
Yeah.
with y'all
It's the
two
aura
doing
you're
that, man,
in.
I know they having a ball coming to get workouts in. To where y'all are, man. So that's hats off to both of y'all for that, man.
It's cool.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Keep that going, cause that's big.
Yeah, man, it's cool with how diverse our crowd is too. That everyone meshes so well. I mean, you see people hanging out outside, going to events outside. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, not a person
I'll
feels
get the
lost, I don't think.
notification that like people that I didn't even know were hanging out, that are members that are hanging out, going to bars or concerts or something like that, and it's really cool to like that I'm not trying to do it alone.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Nashville though. So what's your best part about that? Like after hours, you going to like what's your hangout spot? What you like to do?
oh man, we're all over the place. I don't know. It's whatever I'm feeling. So like we'll go to emo nights. We'll do that. We'll go. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
anywhere, man. There's not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Not
I mean,
favorite,
I hang out with Blake and people from the gym all the time. Those are some of my best friends. Are people that I've met not only just through the gym, but like that have joined after we had opened up. Just meeting people there and
Y'all
vibing.
building a great community, man. Yeah, that's a telltale sign right there. When
Yeah.
you can do that outside of the work and it's still cool,
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. And we are back talking about some gym culture. Let's just bring it back up. We were talking off air a little bit, but talking about the Australian breakdancer. The Olympics just happened,
man.
and all the things that are taking over the internet. But
It was rigged.
yeah,
There's no way she was supposed to be in it.
So from what I read
Yeah.
today was that like her husband actually like is on the committee of who selects of their breakdancing community, their association, who gets to go to represent their country. Her husband was the one like appointing people. They basically blackballed everybody else. He appointed his wife, and then she went up there and
She's horrible, by the way.
flopped around. That is
It takes nerve to do it, but she.
I mean, if you haven't seen the videos,
it's go
Look
check
'em
out
up.
the video.
Yeah, you can find 'em.
You'll thank us later for the laugh.
I mean,
I promise you.
there's some chicks in Antioch that are better than that.
Chicks anywhere, but it's chicks anywhere better than that. I promise you.
Right.
Like, yeah.
I mean, there was some crazy stuff going on with the
Yeah.
Olympics. I mean, like I saw a video, and I don't know all the details, but I saw a video of a guy that was in there and he couldn't swim. He had like he had like the slowest time. I don't know what the category was, but
Yeah.
it was like I think everyone else had false started, so he like left with a gold medal. I'm pretty
that's
sure.
crazy.
Yeah, and he was like treading water, basically just surviving up until he finished the race.
Same with the dive. Y'all see the diver
Yeah.
who couldn't dive, and this so happened like just made a big splash, big flop, and it was like there's no way. So I don't know. It was something
Right.
up with Paris.
I don't
And
know,
then
but-
there's that dude you saw the like the shooting.
Yeah.
He just walked
that
in,
Turkish
no
shooter.
gear.
You
Yeah.
see that
I
one?
didn't see that.
So like they put shooting in the Olympics, and there's handgun shooting, and everybody's got all this like crazy like thousands of dollars of like eye gear, so you
Right.
can like see the target because the target's like the size of like $50.
Yeah, eye
And-
gear. Like if you ever seen like those movies where it's like spy things and they like have like extendable.
see
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I
It's
did
like
see the
layered glass.
I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Some dude from
Yeah.
Turkey came in there with just like some eyeglasses, like no nothing,
Like just prescription.
No,
no extra stuff, no like
No
thing
head-
to help
no,
his
like,
arm up, like
Nothing to cover his ears
no.
for the noise.
He had
or
like
anything.
little bitty earplugs, not the over ear, and he just had his hand in his pocket, and he sat there and got silver. And what all the memes are saying is that he got silver on purpose because he didn't want to draw too much attention.
Right.
That he's really just an assassin.
So he's John Wick.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Because
John
I mean,
Wick.
it brought up
Yeah.
a valid point. If we're sending the best shooters, why are we not sending some of our assassins in there and like just?
Too much.
Well,
Yeah.
the backstory was hilarious because like he started shooting because like he got into an argument with his ex-wife. Or something
See,
like
I
that.
didn't even know that.
And he was like,
Oh, yeah,
but he was like, but he was basically
Yeah.
like, I'll show you, you know what I mean? And he takes up shooting, he takes silver, and then he like gets home.
He was
and
like ripping cigs in between events.
Yeah.
Was he? Yeah. Oh, dude, I
Gets
gotta
home,
find
he,
hand
like,
in his
post a-
pocket, just
I gotta
posts a
find
picture
this.
with his cat, and he's like, I'll post it up, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah, this,
you
yeah.
know
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
Like any
Yeah.
other Instagram account that you could
but
come across.
so breakdancing's not coming back to the Olympics.
It is not.
No.
It should not.
No, I don't.
Was that
think
just
so.
like purely experimental, or
I think they try some of that with some of the new sports, and
Okay,
depending
gotcha.
on the internet's response to everything, depends on that.
Flag
Yeah,
football is coming though. In
Do you think
28.
they're gonna? Do you think Goodell's gonna let the NFL dudes do it?
No.
Because you got the 3-on-3 basketball that the NBA can't play in.
Correct.
And we didn't always allow the NBA to play for team like the national team, Team USA.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you don't think that the first year in they're gonna let?
I don't think so. Because I feel like we're still better than anybody.
But why
around the
wouldn't
world.
we? It's flag
Get
football.
collegiate. I mean, collegiate guys. Think about all the guys we know right now who like.
Hey, maybe I'll
You
go
know,
out.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
we
do
should
it.
try it.
Lamar,
Yeah, why not?
Tyreek, like if you
I don't think
Gold.
it's worth it. Yeah,
Gold.
I don't think they do it. I don't think you do it. Maybe
I don't know,
collegiate,
man.
maybe. But that's
but like
something
the
we have to cross.
prestigiousness of having a gold medal in football hasn't ever been there.
It's not going to be there in 28.
But like it's used in the NBA debate, in the GOAT debate
Yeah.
of like a stat for like who's the GOAT with. So like why would NFL players not want to be able to put that on their roster to be able to settle GOAT debates?
Not
Because
the
Tom
same.
Brady won't ever have a gold medal.
Not the same. You don't need it. No Super Bowl.
Yeah,
rings.
I don't
He
think that's
he
on
don't-
his
he-
list,
he-
man. I
he
think
don't
he's
need
pretty content.
it. Yeah, you don't need it.
Anyway, back to competing. Back to our guest.
Yeah.
You started young. Started in fitness young. You every circle I went in other states of people would just like he was the kid, like literally
The
like
kid.
damn near like that was the nickname was like the kid.
Yeah, pretty
It
much.
was like a prodigy. And on one hand, it was like, man, if I would have started this at that age, imagine where I would be. That's what everybody was saying, right? That's a jealousy that you were talking about, like because I didn't really get started. I mean, I was way behind you in age starting.
right. Yeah.
And the things you were able to do at the age you were doing them, the 1,000-pound yoke that you did at 21 years old, insane.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like with the way your life has gone with some injuries when you did your competitions, with where you are now with competing or hopes of competing, things like that, like are you glad you started young and happy with things how they went? Or
I mean, I think the inevitable was always there as far as like the injury side of things and some things that have happened. I mean, getting out of high school, I was supposed to go play football was the plan. And then I go to my home gym back in Cedar Rapids. The guy that owns it came up to me like 2 weeks of being there. I was with my buddy that has done powerlifting since he was a kid, and Ken McClellan comes up to me and he goes, I've been watching you for a couple weeks. I think you'd be really good at strongman. I want to train you. I want to be your coach. I want to like bring you up kind of thing. And I was like, I don't know. I never had a deep, deep passion for football. I didn't. I had more of a passion for wrestling. I was a big wrestler for a long time.
Iowa wrestling is huge.
Iowa
yeah.
Iowa wrestling is nuts. So I was big into that, but you know, football had more opportunity. It was there. Like, I mean, I was textbook linebacker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I was like, you know, after a week of sitting on it, I was like, I'll try it, and I fell in love doing it. I mean, but I lifted hard in high school just because I was a little bit bigger already. I was pretty good at it, and I had like okay structure, but I didn't know what an RPE was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We were doing RPE training.
See, for people who don't know, like kind of explain like what actually consists like in a strongman competition. Like for somebody who goes for the first time, like all right, what are we looking at? What would we be expecting to see when we go to like a competition?
Yeah, so I mean, there's usually like 5 events, right? There's a press event, there's a deadlift event, there's usually some sort of medley, like a loading event, and then like a mystery event. Am I missing anything? That's usually about what it is, but I mean, it can vary so much because you have so many different implements that you work with, right? You got like like even just for pressing, you got a log, you got an axle, you got a circus dumbbell, you got a barbell, you can do Viking presses off of a fulcrum, you can do all these different things, and then basically whoever's running the competition can workshop it however they want.
So it depends on where you go.
Yeah.
It depends where you go. Yeah. I mean, you're always in for a good time.
Well,
but that's what makes that's
the
what makes
biggest limiting
Strongman
factor is the promoter's access to equipment.
Yes, 100%.
That's
right.
that's
so
really
when we
what,
see pulling a big fire truck, that could be something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's the best part about Strongman, in my opinion, because I did powerlifting for a little bit, but it's like, I know what my week looks like. I'm showing up, I'm squatting this day, I'm benching this day, I'm deadlifting this day, and then I've got like an accessory day or two, you know. But Strongman, depending on what you're training for, you're doing all sorts of different stuff. You're working with different equipment, so it's like you kind of get that refresher, and it's not so monotonous, you know. But like I started off doing Strongman, like I said, you know, at that gym, playing with some different implements, and I was like, man, this is tricky and it's tough, but I'm like, I want to get good at it. There's things you try and you're like, man, it's not vibing with me right now, but like I know I could do it and I want to. But I mean, like even the first time I touched a barbell, like just a normal stiff bar and pulled on a deadlift. I had only ever done like trap bar deadlifts in like lifting class in high school, and I'd hurt myself all the time. You know what I mean? I didn't have that foundation. But the first time I ever did a deadlift, I pulled like 545.
That's crazy.
You know, but I mean,
that's crazy.
But you start off that built up. I mean, that's your Iowa strong, whatever you want to say. And with my wrestling background, you know, I was a really lean 200 right out of the gate, starting off. So
you could have played football with Brock Purdy.
I could have. Yeah.
Actually, one of my teammates, in high school, he went to Iowa State. It's like Tim Dobbins. So he ended up getting drafted by, I want to say the Chargers. But that's a side note. They made me say Iowa. Like that's the only part. Well, actually, I trained a couple clients that they're from Iowa. He went to the University of Iowa. Yeah. But he went to Iowa State. So I know that's a whole nother war in itself right there between those two. But
it's a Hawkeye State for sure. But engineering is huge at Iowa State. Yeah. And I grew up like 30 minutes from Iowa City where the Hawkeyes are, and I was like, everyone's going there. That was one of the times where I'm like, yeah, let's get out and get my own thing going on. You know what I mean? So it worked out okay. Yeah. But
training regimen though, like when y'all do, like how do you prepare for a strongman though? I know the events, but what do you do? I mean, it's so much stuff to kind of lift, and you don't know mystery stuff. Like what's a workout look like? If I came right now, we do all right, Deon, we doing a strongman workout today. What would I be ready to get into?
You go ahead, man.
People get really wrapped up, especially because there's so much overlap from powerlifting to strongman.
Right.
That like powerlifters are like, they want the actual barbell brand, they want the calibrated plates, they want everything. So coming over into strongman, people want to use the actual implements, but like unless you have a gym like us where you can use the implements that are going to be used in competitions, you just have to like just be strong. And people get really wrapped up in wanting to train specific for that. But before that, I mean,
sometimes you learn in warm-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, you literally, like, you might not touch it until you're actually going, as far as whatever you're having to lift or throw or load or something like that. Like,
I've met a ton of people at competitions that, like, we're warming up and they're like, hey, can you show me how to do this? I've never worked with this before.
Never worked before.
Never done it before.
And it's not like they're new to the sport.
Access to it. I mean, before I even opened a strongman gym, it was, you just train regular. You just train strength. Like, you could get better at strongman without getting stronger, but you're better off just training with barbells and dumbbells and getting stronger, and then figuring out the implements.
I got you. That makes sense.
Because like before opening the gym, I was having to train Monday through Friday, just regular like shoulder day, squat day, deadlift day, and on a weekend, I'd have to go up to like Kentucky or Chattanooga or Memphis or somewhere to like find a strongman gym to like learn how to implement training and stuff like that.
You think bodybuilders or power lifters will drive for the right equipment? You talk about a strongman Sunday and the right group of people that need access and have a comp coming up, they'll drive
Anywhere.
hours.
I mean, we've got people right now that come in on sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. They're training for a competition and they're driving down from Hopkinsville every weekend.
Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah. And they just
Just
pay
to-
the
just to
pay the
get
drop in just so they can touch the actual
Yeah.
implements. But ultimately, to answer your question, it's really not that much difference. Training for performance.
Right.
You got to have strong shoulders. You got to know you got to press overhead. You got to have strong legs. You don't have to necessarily squat. If it is, it's for reps. You got to deadlift. And other than that,
You're gassing yourself a lot more than you are. I would say that's a big difference, right? Is like you might finish off your main sets with basically till failure, right? So it's an AMRAP, as many reps as possible. You're going until your body quits, and that might be on a log clean and press. You know what I mean? So that's how you prep
it's
yourself. 'Cause,
closer
like,
to CrossFit than either CrossFit or Strongman would ever admit. But
it really is.
But
Yeah.
like as many reps as you can in 60 seconds, that's an AMRAP. But we don't
Right.
call it an AMRAP.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, you're basically doing that. What I've learned how to say it to kind of wrap this up is like, if CrossFit can steal and like own that term that they are functional fitness, Strongman is functional strength.
Makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's the same thing. Like powerlifting, you're looking at hitting a single rep of something, and you might have to do it 3 times, or you get 3 attempts for it. But strongman, I mean, that's another thing. You're looking at all those events that I listed out: press, deadlift, whatever. It could be a max deadlift. It could be a deadlift for reps. It could be a deadlift medley, and then you have all
that's
those
the, that's the
implements.
part is like
Car
it's like
deadlift.
crazy though.
Car
It makes it
deadlift,
hard.
yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I watch them on TV, of course, when they have them, but it's like, man, you got to be strong to even do that, man.
Yeah.
Hence the name, of course, but I'm just saying, like, that's
Carries.
athletes wouldn't dare to jump into like that type
Yeah.
of lifting. You know what I'm saying? Outside of like the sports performance world,
Right.
But those who
the
can, they're probably,
carryover
like,
from football into
that's
that
what I'm about to say.
was so
it's crazy.
so natural.
That was
It was
my
so
point.
it was so
Yeah.
easy. But it's really whatever the promoter wants to be. I mean, there's been events where we'd have like a carry or like a load event where they're using fire hydrants. And I got those fire hydrants on the side of the road. Don't tell the fire chief, but
yeah, we gotta edit that part.
yeah.
out.
So it doesn't have to
Well,
be
it's
a
not
set-
like you took some tools out there and took it apart.
No, it was just laying there, finders
Right.
keepers. But like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't have to be
You pay
like
tax.
a
Right,
certain
that's cool.
weight or a standard. It could
Yeah,
literally
cement
be
bricks in the
whatever
bag, the blocks, whatever
yeah.
it is. Yeah,
But I mean, that's also
it's
like
got an old school feel to it too, though. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like I like
exactly.
that.
100%. But
Yeah, I
like
like
it scares people off too. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, like football players wouldn't just jump into it, but they're the people that would be
The best, that's probably
realistically
the best.
yeah.
Yeah,
the best at it, right? And it's
'Cause
that's
it's
what
awkward pushing a human.
yeah,
Right.
So and that's what a lot of it is how
variable.
who can be the strongest in an awkward position.
Yeah. So, that's another battle that me and Blake have been dealing with the gym, which we knew was a thing, right? Blake's been doing it for years because he kind of established the strongman community here in Nashville. It was, how do we make people see that this isn't as scary as you think it is, and it's fun? And since there are so many different aspects to it, the feelings of accomplishments and the wins that you get from a very objective standpoint, right? It's I mean, it's strength is numbers,
Right.
which I dig. You get those more frequently. It can be
yeah, because you can't lie. You can't. I mean, it's
Yeah.
right there. Like
Yeah.
we did it, we hit it, boom,
Yeah.
we good.
you have a ton of different lifts that you can work on. There's small things that you can change that'll change it way up. So the progression, I mean, it takes a long time to learn it, but you're progressive. You're hitting all of these milestones. For someone that needs a win, man, if life is tough and it's just absolutely kicking you in the balls, you go and
Yeah.
for me, when life was tough and I wasn't doing so hot, I'd hit the gym, and usually I'd be in a mindset where I was like, not a lot's going right.
But
I
this
need a
is,
win.
though,
I need a win,
I'm about
and
to
I'd make it
dominate
happen.
This. See, that's my
Yeah.
mindset too, though. Like, man, we come in, something's wrong, bad day, or life just doing life.
Yeah.
You got to put it on the ball.
Like I almost
I'll put
hate
it on
that
the
the
bar.
sport itself is called strongman.
Why?
Like I feel like that's one of the biggest obstacles.
What
is,
do you wish it was called? Super Strong Fun Time?
So, I mean, so you don't scare people off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel like people think that that they don't know that women can do it.
I have a lot of women at the gym.
Oh yeah,
I-
it is almost predominantly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, not
that's
like
surprising though. I feel
not
like
like in a weird skew,
no,
but like,
this, yeah.
but for sure, like I think you expect to see, especially in a strength gym, more men. But if anything, I'm saying like 50 or 60-40
Yeah.
But
split,
I bet
maybe
they
something
see
like that.
results fast though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
also
those
with the way
certain
women
demographics.
attack like goals
Right.
and like
Goal oriented.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
is a
and
lot
if
different, but-
if they decide to do strongman, like they're in.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Men
There's
will
no
do it
in,
because
there's no in and out. Just
Yeah,
like, we all
Dudes
in
will
with it.
try it and be like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I won't see him for a little bit. But like a lot of the female, it'll take them longer to
Mm-hmm.
like decide they're going to do it. But once they decide, they're all the way in it.
I
But-
would even almost object that. I mean, it's probably like till they get a level of comfortability.
Yeah.
But usually when they get that like first win, almost every woman that I've worked with or showed them how to do like a log press or something like that, walk them through. Once they get that like tick and they do their like a first good rep, and I'm like, that's it.
That's it.
Hell
Yeah.
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 You know, they're like, oh my gosh,
can
this
do
is
this.
so fun.
Like,
Yeah,
I
and then
can
they're
do
in.
this.
you can
And
see
they're
the
in.
wheels turning. They're like, if I figured it out like that, what else can I figure
What
out?
else can I do?
Yeah.
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 And it kind of like more so with the women, it opens their mind of like, oh, I can accomplish so much more. And it's really cool to watch that. But a lot of people don't understand. They think that they have to be like a certain level of strength to even do it. But it's broken up into like experienced people or novice. And it's like based upon weight classes and things like that. So it really, like, you can fit in wherever and get started way before you really think that you're ready.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about it. Yeah, I'm interested, man. Like, I don't know if I do a competition, but I definitely do a workout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
and
do
like you said, I mean, there's novice classes, so if you just want to go in and mess around,
Pulling up. I'm pulling up.
it's
August
fun.
24th.
I'm pulling up.
And you never, and I always tell people, I'm like, don't wait to go in and do a competition. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not strong enough yet. And it's the same thing with like powerlifting or any of these other sports. It's like, you just got to do it. And honestly, the first one is just figuring out the lay of the land.
Yeah.
You know, I picked up on it pretty quick. I went like the first competition I did. I never did novice. I started open right away, open class.
Yeah.
I won that show. I qualified for nationals. That was the one. I think you went to Vegas, right? In
Yeah,
2018.
yeah, I went to Vegas.
I looked at the wait list on that. Not like the wait list, like I'm in line, but like what the events were,
Yeah.
how heavy it was, and I was like,
It was a heavy show.
I was like, ain't
Yeah.
no fucking way. I'm
Right.
you know what I mean?
right.
So I'm like, I'm not going to spend money to go to Vegas. You know, I'm 18. What the hell am I going to do in Vegas?
That's one of my worst showings ever.
Yeah. Well, dude, even like
I
after
zeroed
that.
3 of the events.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
heard-
even
heard
come
it
in.
was
I didn't
tough.
come in last though.
Bro, my first
That's a
nationals.
win.
Yeah.
That's a win, though.
Yeah, my first nationals, I went to. I think there was someone that zeroed like all 5 events, and the only reason he didn't, so 4, and the reason he didn't zero like one of the 5 was like it was the moving event, and I think he got like a couple inches or something like
Yeah.
that. But I'm like, man, to get all the way out here, I mean, that's tough.
That's the fee.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's why I looked at that and I'm like, I'm not even gonna waste my time. But
I looked at it and was like, I don't know if I can do any of this, but I'm going to party in Vegas.
well,
Well,
like I
that's another
said,
thing too, though. Yeah.
I could. What am I going to do in Vegas? I'm 18. Like even
Right.
even when I was going to like my first 2 times at the Arnold when I went and competed, I couldn't even get a hotel room by myself. I had to bring my mom because you got to be 21 to get a hotel room. Like
Wow.
That-
I wasn't
that
old
changed the
enough to
game.
get
Stronger
my
than
own.
everybody.
I know though. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
cool though.
but tough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, man, I don't even have I couldn't rent a car to go out. I can rent a car now, but I couldn't rent a car to go out. I
That's
couldn't get a
tough. That's stuff you
hotel
don't
room.
think about.
So
Yeah.
I'm like trying to coordinate all this
Yeah.
too and prep for it and everything. But yeah, just like dragging it, just trying to figure it out because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is
Downside
where I
of
need to
being
be.
a prodigy, I guess, is what
Yeah.
what that book will be called.
It's all good now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you see yourself competing again?
for sure, man. I've hit some really tough roadblocks. Like it was before I even met you. I was having some back issues. It was like my hips kind of. There was a while where like I could hardly even walk for a good amount of time and could hardly get out of bed. I mean, I remember I was in college and the pain was so bad. Like I didn't go to class for 2 weeks and I stayed in bed just because of my back pain. part of that was because it was the winter in Iowa. I had to walk to class. I hit a sheet of ice and I fell. This wasn't what hurt me, but it was like,
what?
but I was already like hobbling, waddling. I slipped, I fell, and I was like down for the count. It took me a couple minutes to get up. And then that went down after a while. I hit some competitions. It'd kind of flare up from time to time. And then it's been like in the last 2 years or so, haven't even really been able to deadlift. The last nationals I did, I don't even remember what I finished. I finished okay. Like 6th out of 40, something like that. But I didn't deadlift all the way up until that point. And I think I got like 2nd place in the deadlift or something. It was like 315 per hand farmers
for reps
deadlift. No, and then to 350 pounds per hand farmers deadlift, and then wagon wheel deadlift, and that was like 670 or something like that. And I hit all those, and I hit 3 reps on 670. Hadn't deadlifted, couldn't bend over weeks before that, and then after that, I was like, man, I gotta take a step back. So I've held off on that for a little bit. Was trying different rehab stuff, moving, doing a lot of different things, and then found out that I basically have arthritis in my SI joint through my back. So
that's tough. I had back surgery about 5-6 years ago, so I feel your pain on just the back pain itself is just tough.
I'm willing to do whatever I got to do to get right, though.
Right.
You know
was
what
that
I mean?
a fusion or?
No, I had a lung lamb, so I had a bulging disc in my L5. There was pressure on my sciatic nerve, so it got to the point where I couldn't lift my foot up.
Yeah, was it like running down your leg kind of thing?
All the way down, all the way to my foot, to my toe actually. So I literally couldn't lift, like no dorsiflexion, none of that. So I had to go. So I went in. It feels a lot better now. So I was willing to deal with more of the physical pain than the nerve pain. The nerve pain just sent me through the roof.
Like that's what I got going on.
Oh no, that's tough.
It's bleeding in there, and it's just
it's tough.
Yeah,
that sucks, actually, man. Yeah,
I've been training around it for a couple years, and I mean I think I've had some stuff come up in my my life recently that I've had to focus on. My job and relationships and stuff like that. I made the decision. I'm like, I'm taking some time off.
No, you need to let your body heal up.
I haven't hardly been around the gym in months. Realistically, probably like 5 months, something like that. But I'm honestly, I'm getting back in the next couple weeks or so. I got some medication now to help out with pain. That's been doing great. And then I'm gonna do like some building. I'm gonna do some bodybuilding kind of stuff, lose some weight. Look crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna try to look crazy, and then get back into strength. See if I can build up some strength in those areas, and then come back strong. And man, I'm looking for like an awesome opportunity to like make a comeback. Yeah, nothing's better than a comeback.
It's a setup though. You're setting yourself up for like a great comeback though. So we'll be watching, man. If you need some help, I'll be there to be a workout partner with you.
No, I appreciate that.
Sure.
I appreciate that.
What kind of mindset have you had to like overcome to get excited about the comeback instead of being like down about what you're not able to do, especially when you've been doing it at such a young age?
Yeah.
And now you're getting to the age where I started things.
Right.
And so
that was my whole thing, right? I was like, I started young, I was competitive. I was like, I want to be like world's strongest man, 105 by the time I'm like 26. That was my goal. I want to be and clean too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was a big thing for me.
No, it is.
So that was my goal. And so it's been hard to have such a huge setback and try to overcome that. And I mean, I don't care what anyone says. Like you see people do their comeback stories and they're like, it was never an option. You know what I mean? But there's
always an option.
No,
to quit.
it's an option.
Quitting is always on the table.
Listen,
right. Right.
Always,
and in your mind, the overwhelming voice might say quitting's never an option, but there is that voice inside of you also that's like, man, I could just be done and find something else. But
that's what we fight all the time, though. And I say that just from experience, man. Like, so when I hurt my back, I had a cane for like a month and a half, 2 months. But I went into the operation looking like this. So when I came out with the cane, people was kind of freaked out. Like, man, what? You all right? What happened? I'm like, well, I was hiding it, but, this pain has been killing me. So to your point, like, he worked through it. But it's always an option to say, hey, you know what, I want to stop training, I want to do this and that. But it's just once you get bit by that bug, I tell everybody, you only know unless, sitting on this side of things, we feel it. People who we coach and train, they get it, right? And some of them may get into this side of it, but once you're on this side, I think it's a different mindset. It's so different. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain it unless you get bit by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not letting it go, man. It's like it's something that I fell in love with. I mean, like I was always athletic. I was always like, pretty good at whatever I was doing. I was on the academic side, I was doing great. I was doing like show choir and all that. Like I was involved in everything. Everything was going great, but I never had something that like bit me. You know what I mean? A lot of people, it's football when they're in high school and they never, they don't stop talking about it, even if they don't do anything past that. But for me, it was strongman, dude. And like training around the injury has got me to temporarily lose it a little bit. Cause I'm like, it feels like a job when you're trying to train around it and you're like, oh, I gotta like, I'm supposed to do deadlifts today. Yeah, because like the best part of going to the gym is always going and pushing yourself and like, and seeing kind of what you're capable of doing. But if you're backtracking and you kind of lose that ability, or like for me, I couldn't do like super fast, quick jerk motions. It was too variable for me. Cause like if you're talking about putting pressures on the wrong nerve,
it broke me down.
It'll break you down.
Yeah, I'm telling
You'll fall down.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I couldn't do the things about it that I loved. And so like I needed time off to remember what it is that I loved about it and then kind of let it build and not half-ass it. The half-assing part of it is what takes it down a notch where you're like, oh man, this sucks. It sucks. And I'm like, how about not doing it all? Not doing it at all is going to make me be like,
itching again. Got to get back.
Got to get it back. Yeah. So that's where I'm at now. And that was like kind of my strategy behind it. And hopefully just rest my body and let it figure
rest is always
out.
helpful. I'll tell everybody. Rest and recovery is part of the workout, part of the journey. It happens. So, yeah, we're looking for that comeback, man. For sure.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good time to plug August 24th, Music City Strongman Classic. Yep.
Make sure you beat us there. That's how about that? Beat us there. Where can we go to log in or try to sign up? Whoever wants to come, tickets. Yeah. We got that far yet with it?
Oh yeah. The website to sign up for it is Iron Podium, but it's located at our gym this year. We're bringing the Music City Strongman Classic to the house at this point.
So this is a house thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's at the gym, and so that way, I mean, it's a lot easier for us. We can do a lot cooler events where we don't have to transport equipment. We got some really cool events. Everything's kind of mirroring what nationals would be, but making it a lot more approachable for beginners. A great way to learn, even if you just want to come out and like actually see what would go to.
Yeah, I would love to see that
from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Man.
Usually on these lighter events,
might steal a couple moves from that.
Yeah,
I mean?
There you go. Yeah,
usually what's really fun about the smaller shows. Is there's always somebody like that, like you, that's a little interested. They're like in between, and this is what I wish they would do at the Olympics, to let someone who like doesn't train, like an average person, regular person, like try some of the stuff that you can see that it's doable for beginners.
That was the breakdancing.
Yeah, that was the breakdancing for the Olympics. But like,
good, I don't know.
I actually wish there would be a separate competition for the Olympics on a segue that like is almost like the draft of the Army. Like we're not sending, Noah Lyles. You might get a phone call, be like, hey, you're representing USA in the sprints. Like, let's just have it random.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, random draft.
I can't watch it. No ticket sales. Nobody show up for that. I don't know.
I personally think that it would be fun to watch regular people do Olympic type shit.
And the question for that though, for your show, do you have people like come in off the street like, you know what? I haven't done anything. I'm interested. Can you show me how to do a lift? Is that possible to do at the show or competition?
I mean, it's possible. What has happened in the past is through me advertising about the events, people from the gym will see it being advertised and me posting about it, and they'll pull me off to the side and get really curious. And what I'll always do is I'll tell them like, hey, meet me here at this time. And I'll actually, instead of just showing them how to do this random strongman event, I'll actually take them through what the competition is going to look like. the smaller women are going to start, then we'll go up, build up through the men. This event will do this. This is how fast you have to do it, things like that. And I'll go through the whole thing. And then a lot of times people will then like turn around and they really didn't train for it. But then they'll turn around and do it just to say they did it, do something different.
Sometimes they win.
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah
Sometimes,
Tucker?
yeah. Sometimes they just win and they've never really done anything. I've got people that I can call that don't train strongman, that if I need someone to fill in for a weight class, they'll hop in and they haven't done anything and they'll just figure it out. So it very much is something that, like, depending on your personal like background,
You
and
got to have
foundation,
some sort of like
yeah.
lifting background
Right,
to know
so,
like
yeah, you gotta have some
bracing
type
and
of
stuff, right?
foundation, Like
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
functionally, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, if you have that, I mean, absolutely. So we're gonna have a good time there, a little after party afterwards.
It's those competitions that are like not huge, right? Like big high pressure, like
Yeah.
a nationals or like an Arnold or Worlds, whatever. Those are always so fun.
So fun.
I
The
bet-
people,
they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
the
I bet.
people are always the best people. Everyone's there to show you something, and then whenever you're done, everyone's like, "Crack a beer, let's party,
Let's
have
go."
a good time."
Yep.
Yeah,
That's the fun part.
Because a lot of the
best.
people that are doing these shows are people that, at least my shows and the smaller shows, the beginners, a lot of them didn't grow up playing sports. So like to
Right.
see them bring their family there and then like to do something in their life that allows their family to come cheer them on for something, it can be an absolutely life-changing moment.
Yeah, this is their Super Bowl.
Right, exactly. Because like
Yeah.
most, they didn't grow up in sports, and then like now they work an office job, and you don't bring your mom and your niece in to like watch you do your office job and like
Right.
cheer for you when you send that email. Like,
Right.
so like to provide that for people that can like show and remind them what kind of support that they have in their life, or to give them that support within our community, is a really cool motivator of why we do what we do.
Nice, man. Well, guess what, man? Unfortunately, it's time to
gotta
wrap it up, man. But Matt, pleasure having you on. Blake,
Yep.
like always, man, I look forward to it next week,
Yep.
next episode. But if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe, click the link, and be sure to follow us. So signing off. See y'all later.
For the love of Nashville, tune into the next episode.